Hello and welcome back to English Earwaves, the podcast that helps you navigate everyday situations in English. I'm your host, Anna.
And I'm Ben. It's fantastic to be back with you all. So, Anna, after our last episode on bank transfers, I feel ready to manage my money. What challenge are we tackling today?
Today, we're moving on to an even bigger challenge, something many of our listeners will face: renting a place to live. Whether you call it an apartment, a flat, or just home, the process can be really tricky if you're not familiar with the language and the steps involved.
You can say that again. Finding a place to live is stressful enough, but when you're dealing with contracts and new vocabulary, it can feel overwhelming. I remember my first time trying to find a flat. I didn't know what half the words in the listings meant.
Exactly. So today, our mission is to demystify the process. We'll guide you through the entire journey, from the initial search to the day you get your keys. Ready to build a foundation?
I'm ready to move in. So where does one even begin?
The journey almost always starts with the search. Most people look online on property websites. In the US, you might use sites like Zillow or apartments.com. In the UK, popular ones are Rightmove or Zoopla. You can also go directly to a letting agent, or in the US, a realtor.
Okay, letting agent and realtor. Are they the same thing?
Essentially, yes. They are the professionals who help connect people looking for a home with the owners of the properties. The owner of the property is called the landlord, and the person who rents it is the tenant.
Landlord and tenant. Got it. So when I'm looking at these online listings, what are some key terms I should know?
Great question. First, you'll see places described as furnished or unfurnished. Furnished means it comes with furniture like a bed, sofa, and table. Unfurnished means it's an empty space that you have to fill yourself.
That's a big difference. I also see the term utilities included a lot. What does that mean?
Utilities are your essential services: electricity, gas, water, and sometimes internet. If the listing says utilities included, it means the cost of these services is included in your monthly rent. If not, you have to set up and pay for them separately, which is more common.
That's a crucial detail to check for budgeting. So I found a few places I like online. What's the next step?
The next step is to arrange a viewing, or a showing, as it's often called in the US. This is an appointment to go and see the property in person. You'll usually meet the letting agent or the landlord there.
What should I be doing at the viewing, besides just looking around?
This is your chance to be a detective. Check everything. Turn on the taps to check water pressure. Ask if the appliances are in good working order. And look for any signs of damp or damage. It's also the perfect time to ask questions.
What kind of questions are good to ask?
Definitely ask who is responsible for repairs to know who to call if something breaks. You could also ask, what is the neighborhood like? Or what's the policy on pets if you have a furry friend? And most importantly, ask about the money side of things.
Right, the money. What do I need to prepare for?
You'll almost always need to pay a security deposit, sometimes just called the deposit. This is a sum of money you pay upfront, which the landlord holds to cover any potential damages you might cause. You usually get it back at the end of your stay if you've left the place in good condition.
Okay, so I viewed a flat, I love it, and I'm ready to pay the deposit. Am I ready to move in?
Not quite yet. Now comes the paperwork. You'll need to fill out an application form. The landlord or agent will likely run a credit check to see if you have a history of paying your bills on time. They will also ask for references. These are contacts from a previous landlord or your employer who can confirm that you are a reliable tenant.
That sounds quite formal. It's like a job application.
It is, in a way. If your application is approved, the final step is to sign the rental contract. This is called a lease in the US or a tenancy agreement in the UK. This is the single most important document, so read it very, very carefully before you sign.
What should I be looking for in the tenancy agreement?
Look for 3 key things. First, the term, which is the length of the contract, for example, 12 months. Second, the notice period. This is how much advance warning you have to give the landlord before you move out. And third, see if there's a break clause. A break clause lets you end the contract early, for instance, after 6 months of a 12-month contract, without a penalty.
A break clause. That sounds very useful if your plans change. So I've signed the lease. Now can I get my keys?
Yes, on the day you move in, you'll do one last thing with the agent or landlord, an inventory check. This is where you go through a list of every item in the property and its condition. You both sign it to agree on the state of the property. This protects your security deposit later.
You should also take meter readings for gas and electricity.
To make sure I'm only paying for what I use, right?
Exactly. And with that, the place is yours. Congratulations, you have successfully rented your new home.
Wow, that is a process, but breaking it down like that makes it so much clearer.
I'm glad. Now, let's see if you were paying attention. Time for a quick vocabulary recap. Ready, Ben?
Born ready, let's do it.
What do you call the owner of a property who rents it out?
That's the landlord.
And what do you call the person who rents it?
The tenant.
Perfect. What is the upfront payment to cover any potential damages called?
The security deposit.
Excellent. What's the name of the legal contract you signed to rent a home?
In the US, it's a lease, and in the UK, it's a tenancy agreement.
You're on a roll. And what's the useful clause that might let you end your contract early?
That's the break clause.
Fantastic. You're all set to find a new home. You have passed the English Earwaves rental exam. I feel much more prepared now. The key really is to know the terms, ask lots of questions, and read everything before you sign it.
That's the perfect summary. And that's all we have time for today on English Earwaves. We hope this episode helps you find your perfect place with confidence.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more helpful guides to everyday English. You can also find a full transcript of today's show, along with a vocabulary list, on our website.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!